I'm gonna start this Welte every 7th with a shop and pay order, $14.50, 5.5 miles. Good way to start the shift. Listen, as a full-time gig worker, I do a lot of driving. I see a lot of you out here on the road. You got bad habits. You don't deserve to be behind the wheel, in my humble opinion. In today's episode of Welte every 7th, I'm talking about what rules I would institute on the road. Many of the current rules, you'll see I would actually get rid of. So this is how the transportation law would look if I was made your benevolent dictator tomorrow. Let me start with something to win you over. Number one, I would probably raise the speed limit everywhere, 10 miles per hour, with the exception of places that are maybe 35 miles per hour and under currently. I might raise that 5 miles per hour. But we can take the 25s to 30, the 30s to 35, the 35s to 40. Everything else, we can raise the 45s to 55 and on upward, the 70s to 80s. In many cases, it actually works out to where it's safer that way. A lot of people will drive that quickly anyway. It's better if we just get everybody on board with driving 10 miles over the speed limit, and instead of having half of us that do and half of us that don't. I believe it's on record we have history of raising some interstate, some highway mile per hours by 10 in the past. And the statistics told us that it made it more safe. There were less accidents. Part of the reason being probably because people are zoned in more. People are focused more. If they know they're driving quickly, they're gonna pay attention more. So that's my first act, is we're gonna raise the speed limits. My second one you'll probably like even more, but I'm gonna head inside to go shop at PetSmart. It's only one item, one bag of dog food for $14.50. I would do this order on repeat all day if I could get it. Purina 1, lamb and rice, 31 pounds right here. All right, my second thing, no more parking tickets. A lot of you guys are gonna like that. It depends on where you live probably. You might think, well, that's not realistic at all. The reason I can eliminate parking tickets is because they don't exist anyway. They're a farce. They're fictitious. They're just hoping that good people or scared people are gonna pay it. I'll tell you guys a story about my situation, but listen to this clip. It's Andrew Tate. Now, he's talking about paying taxes, but I think the principle is the same when it comes to paying parking tickets.
Ignore. There becomes a point where there's a cost-benefit analysis where they sit down and go, we don't know where this guy is. We don't even know how much money he has. We don't know if he's gonna pay. He might have left the country. This is a waste of our time. And they give up.
The reason I know that's true is because I've done it myself. When I was in college, really when I was a senior in high school, I drove to my college, which was about 3.5 hours away from where I was living. I didn't have any money at this time. I was on such an extremely tight budget. I could not pay for a hotel or somewhere to stay while I was doing my orientation for college that weekend. So what I was doing is I was sleeping out of my car in Charleston, South Carolina, in a busier part of the city right around the campus. And so they have some parking rules. You can't park during certain hours, or you can't park for a certain amount of time. Of course, I was parked there for 72 or 80 consecutive hours for the whole weekend, since that was my hotel room. So what happens, of course, I wake up one morning, I've got a parking ticket. I think, okay, well now I'm good, because I just leave it under the windshield wiper. Maybe the next time they won't give me another ticket because I've already got one. Well, I was wrong about that. Every 24 hours, they stacked a new ticket on top of the last. And again, I've got no money. There's no way I can possibly pay for these tickets. They're about half the cost of what a hotel room would have been anyway. I just refuse to pay the tickets. Fast forward to today, I don't know, it's been like 6, 7, 8 years ago. I've not heard about those tickets since. Never paid them. Like Andrew Tate said, at a certain point, they just drop them. It's simply not worth keeping up with. They write their tickets and they cross their fingers that 80-90% of them get paid, and then they feel good about it because that's free money to them anyway. They're not going to chase the 10% that are stubborn and refuse to participate in the system. So in my world, there's no reason to do it anyway. No parking tickets. Many of the parking tickets they give out anyway, they're ridiculous. They're not helpful to society. So many times I'm on a university campus and I see them writing a parking ticket, and there's 8 empty parking spots next to the person that they're ticketing. That's ridiculous. Nobody's being harmed by the fact that somebody parked there, whether they parked there wrongfully or rightfully. Nobody's being cost a spot. Whoever's working for the city or for the campus police department and writing those tickets, you're a cuck. You are a cuck. You have to know when you're doing that. This is absurd. You're stealing money when we do that. So in my society, no more parking tickets. Third, I'm gonna get rid of yet another thing. We're gonna speed the transportation up. No more signs at intersections with red lights that say no turn on red. Speaking of course about turning right. Why? Why? Give me a good reason. I can't figure that out. Like anywhere else on the road, it should be to the driver's judgment about whether they should turn right or not. There should not be particular intersections where you can't turn right on a red when no one is coming. That's asinine. So that's how we can fix some of the structure of our transportation system and the expectations we have of one another on the road. But now I need to address you guys, the mistakes you all are making habitually as I share the road with you, trying to earn my living. So brace yourself. I'm going to give us a break here. I'm going to drop off that dog food, and then I'm going to address you. And I'm going to tell you what you've been doing wrong that isn't technically illegal, but should be. All right, so listen, people. The inability to navigate a yield sign is unacceptable. Straight up unacceptable. You do not stop at a yield sign unless absolutely necessary. The amount of people that I see treating a yield sign as a stop sign, it's intolerable. I can't handle it. It's dangerous. That's the reason. It's not because it just bothers me. It's dangerous because I'm expecting you to merge. Yield sign means, hey, pay attention. You know, this is a situation where you need to be careful. You need to be paying attention. It doesn't mean stop. If you do have to stop in order to assess the situation and figure out what's going on the road around you, you don't deserve to be on the road. You're a danger. You're a hazard. You're causing me problems. So that becomes like a new form of ticket. Like if a policeman sees you doing that, or if they're behind you and you do that to them, or this is a new reason that you would be pulled over and ticketed. Next up, gonna handle a stack order. Don't love this order. $11, 4.5 miles, but 2 different pickups, 2 different drop-offs. Whatever, let's do it. The next thing I need you guys to get better at on the road, I want you to listen for something. You hear that? I'm turning right at this light. I put my freaking turn signal on. And most of y'all think you're doing it right, but you're doing it in such a BS way it doesn't count. When you start braking and then hit the turn signal, it's already too late because I'm behind you. From my perspective, you started braking for no reason in the middle of the road until I see, oh, okay, that makes sense. They're turning right. Tell me with your turn signal before the brakes are hit. It doesn't have to be much before you start braking. Just 1 tick before you start braking, hit that turn signal. You know what pisses me off even more about the turn signals though is it's not when I'm behind the person that doesn't know how to do it. It's when I'm situated somewhere else on the road. So they're thinking, well, there's nobody behind me. I don't need to turn signal. No, you do. Because there's other people paying attention to you, whether you realize it or not. For example, I'm trying to leave a parking lot on a busy road. Cars are whizzing by and I can't come out. And you're entering the same parking lot that I'm already in, but you don't signal to me further down the road that you're gonna be turning in. You just cost me the opportunity to leave the parking lot. See, if you'd have signaled to me, I could have turned out of the parking lot before you even started rounding in. I'd have been out, but you don't know how to turn signal. I'm gonna go inside here to Roco and pick up this food for Krista. And then I'm gonna get to the example that pisses me off the absolute most, hands down, bar none. It makes my blood boil. All right. Oh, check it out. I bought DoorDash's catering bag. There we go. I like this thing. It was like 40 bucks. Really, it was supposed to cost more. I got $15 off. But yeah, I invested $40 because I wanted to be good at my craft. So last but not least, and this won't just be a ticket. I don't think you should just be ticketed for this. I think you should have your license suspended. And if you're a repeat offender, you should have it permanently revoked. You just aren't allowed to drive anymore. The situation is you're at a busy intersection, cars are coming both ways, and it's difficult to turn left into oncoming traffic. Okay, just because you can't turn left in the moment doesn't mean you don't have a responsibility. Your responsibility immediately is to go ahead and creep into the middle of the lane so that at the end of the light, when the cars stop coming, you can go ahead and turn left. You know how many times I sit behind somebody and they don't do that? And then the light goes red and they fail to go through. And we sit through another light. Do you know how low IQ that is? Do you know how little self-awareness that takes? Do you know how much time you're costing the human race as you do that? I'm not even kidding you. If you cost me and everybody else behind me 2 minutes every time you do that, because we've got to sit through another light, you multiply 2 minutes by every single person in every single one of those cars, you are costing human productivity. You're costing the world. It is inexcusable. It becomes my duty. When you do that to me, if you cost me the ability to go through a light, I promise you, the millisecond that light turns green the next time, I'm on the horn. And you guys have seen me in the videos before. I'm not making this up. This is not a joke. And I'm not just hitting the horn once. I'm literally laying on it. Or I'll hit it repeatedly. So I like doing that better because it makes them know it's not a mistake. I didn't just lean on my horn on accident. No, I'm hitting that 19 times before you even have a chance to budge because you deserve it. I posted about honking on Facebook the other day. Well, hang on, let me handle this first.
How are you?
Hey, I'm picking up for Kelly. I posted on Facebook a couple days ago. It's amazing how many drivers lack self-awareness. I get to finger at least once a day for honking at someone. I promise I don't honk unless you suck. And I got a comment back from somebody, one of my friends, that I immediately hate anyone that honks at me regardless of fault. 98% of the time, the people that honk at me are in the wrong. I don't buy that. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. You've got to have some sort of bad driving habit that you're unaware of. That's why I talked about self-awareness. This is an individual who otherwise I think is very self-aware, very smart individual, but maybe he's got a weakness here. I don't know. Either way, he said it himself. If 98% of the time you're not in the wrong, that means 2% of the time you are, and people are honking at you. If you have a problem with that, that's your problem. Drive better. Let me know what you all think. What did I miss? What driving habits are technically legal but deserve punishment? That's it for this week's Welte every 7th. I will see you next time on Welte.